Let's take a look at method overloading in Java. Method overloading is when two or more methods within the same class share the same name. We can achieve method overloading by making sure that the type or number of parameters are different. Method overloading is one way that Java supports polymorphism. We'll go ahead and start by making our entry point in our program. We're going to go ahead and call this class overload demo, and we'll include our main method. So public static void main string array of arguments. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll also create a class that will contain our methods that will be overloaded. So class, and we'll go ahead and call this overload. Okay, we'll create a method here that prints out a number. So let's go ahead and call this test. So we'll void, we will call this test, and we'll pass an integer, call it a, and then we'll simply print out the integer. Okay. Now in our entry point here, we're going to go ahead and create the object. So it's of type overload. Let's just call it object here. And new keyword overload. And we'll go ahead and use dot notation to access test. And we'll pass in the integer. So object, just give some space here, object, test, and we'll pass in a random number. Let's pass in 34. Okay, don't forget our semicolons. Let's go ahead and run. Okay, here we see we get the number 34 printed out because it's identifying this method in our overload class. Now, what if we had a method, another method with the same name? How would we differentiate the two? Well, first, we need to have either different number of parameters or different types or a mixture of both. So in this example, we're going to print out two more numbers. So let's go ahead and do int a, like our first parameter. Okay, you can see here that the IDE is telling us that it doesn't know which method. It's a duplicate method. So we'll distinguish this method signature by adding another integer type, b. Now Java can distinguish between the two. So let's go ahead and print these two numbers out. Like, okay, let's print out a plus, give some space, and print out b. Okay. Now, as you can see in when we created our object, we're still using test. It has no problem identifying the one parameter type integer here. So let's go ahead and call the next test method. Okay, again, well, let's pass in 43 and 55. As you can see here, Java has no problem distinguishing between the two because the number of parameters is different. Okay, let's go ahead and run. Okay, you can see here 34 and then 43, 55. Let's do one more example, but we'll use instead, we'll use a different data type. So right under here, we'll create another void test. This time, let's go ahead and pass in a string s. Okay, and then let's go ahead and print this out. And we'll just print out s. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so now we have one parameter test methods, but because now they have different types, Java still can distinguish between the two. Here we can pass a number And here we can pass a string. Let's go ahead and call the string. So object.test, and let's pass in a string here. We can basically pass anything. This is a number 34. And let's not forget our semicolon. And go ahead and run this. All right, here we go. 34, 43, 55. This is the number. Okay, this is a simple example of method overloading in Java.